The Red River Farm Network is celebrating the role of women in agriculture during this month of March. It is our series we call Agricult-HER. And of course, we can't do it without our sponsors. Our thanks go out to the Minnesota Soybean Research and Promotion Council, the Minnesota Corn Growers Association, North Dakota Corn Council, Van On and Company, and Ag Country Farm Credit Services. Our guest is Ann Nalewaja from Bayer Crop Sciences, sales representative. And thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Don. Appreciate it.
I look forward to this conversation. Tell me, did you grow up on a farm? Obviously, you're working with farmers every day to day, but is that where you started?
Do you know, I did not grow up on a farm. I actually grew up in Fargo, North Dakota. I went to Fargo North, and then I went to NDSU. I actually got a degree in zoology, and but the unique thing on my perspective is my father was the first weed scientist at North Dakota State. Jack Carter actually hired him back in 1962. So that's really how I got into agriculture, is just my father. In fact, I still farm the family farm, which was a century farm in 1919. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. And it's nice to have that legacy continuing from your dad, right?
Oh, yes, yes. And I did get this degree in zoology, and I was working at Shields for a while, and a coworker named Henry Steinberger, and I was like, I just don't want to work in the medical field. And he's like, I don't know why you just don't go in agriculture. You got the right last name, and I went and I said, that's a great idea. So I went and I talked to Cal Messersmith, and I said, hey, Cal, how long would it take me to get another degree? And he said, well, Ann, you should really get a master's. And I went, well, I've seen enough grad students work for you professors, and I'm like, I think I'll just get another degree. So a year and a half later, I got a degree, and I've never regretted it.
So where did you come right out of college then? Where did you start?
So I started working at Ada Feed and Seed in Ada, Minnesota. And it was pretty unique because I worked there during the summers. And so then when I was going to take classes, I would have real life examples to give during classes. In fact, a funny thing that happened at Cal's class is, of course, working in the Red River Valley, worked with sugar beets. And of course, counter was used at that time. And there was a question that Cal asked about rates for counter. And he did not know that insecticide was put in furrow. So he actually was asking for the broadcast rate. And I actually went up to Cal and I said, I answered it the way you wanted to, but this product actually goes in furrow, so it should be in band. And so he's like, ooh, I better tell everybody if they answered it that way, it's correct too.
So you're teaching the teacher.
Oh, it was pretty fun. It was a lot of fun. So I took my dad's class, and I had his great nephew in there too, Paul Hassing. And my dad said, yeah, it's time to retire because my daughter's here and my great nephew is here. I could have a little fun with them in class too. That was pretty fun.
That is cool. So where did
Yeah.
you go from Ada?
So I went from Ada to the Halstead elevator. And then, so both places, I was a sales agronomist, sold seed. I started out selling with Pioneer and then DeKalb at Halstead. And then I crop scouted. And it was a lot of fun. I crop scouted up to 25,000 acres. And then I was getting so busy that's when I'm like, okay, I need help scouting these acres. So that was a lot of fun. That was my first intern that helped me out at that place and time. So that was a lot of fun.
So do you see that there was any challenges or maybe opportunities being a woman in the field?
Well, yeah, I mean, back then, when I started in Ada, it was like, this farmer, he might not, really, he might not really respect you because you're a female. And so this farmer in particular came into the elevator. And at the time, I was up in the fertilizer tower and I was banging away trying to get the fertilizer to flow through the tower. And I hopped down from the fertilizer tower, and he happened to be there. And I was already pre-warned, and I held up my hand and I said, who are you? And he told me his name, and I said, hi, I'm Ann Nalewaja. Nice to meet you. And then that was it. I won him over right away because, back then we really did have to know our products better. We had to know our rates better, and we had to work harder than most men.
What's fun to see now is that that has changed because you do have a lot of colleagues, men and women in the business.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, at the Wide World of Weeds, I was looking around going, wow, look at all these ladies. This is just awesome. So, yep, it's great.
I'm sure you got a lot of great memories.
Oh, so many. I'm so happy for this career because not only do you get it's diverse, it's very diverse. You like right now I'm a teacher all winter long. I'm teaching my products. I'm going to grower meetings. I'm learning from professors and the information that was studied from the plot work in the summers. And then of course, then we do our sales hat. We're selling our products to the farmer, but most importantly, it's like helping them because in the summer that's when it's like, hey, how do I kill this weed? What do you give a recommendation? I do because of my diverse background. So working at ag retail for 8 years and then 10 years with Monsanto and then 3 with BSF and the last 9 here at Bayer. I do know a lot of products about a lot of different companies, and I will give the best recommendation that is needed out there.
It's interesting having worked at those different companies. I think each of them must have a little different culture too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And you just have to, kind of bounce around and figure it out. But the goal is to help the farmer. Whatever company you work at, it's all about helping the farmer to do the best management practices so he can get the greatest maximum yield. So,
And I always say we've got the best farmers in the world right here in our backyard. It's
oh,
amazing how progressive they are. They challenge us every day.
oh, our farmers are second to none. They're not only businessmen, they are accountants. They're the coolest thing I see is the engineering skills behind them, the creativity behind them, their story. Every whether you're a farmer or a sales agronomist, everybody has a unique story. And what's cool is the farming background is how many generations they were, or just listening to them and how successful they've been, or some haven't been successful, and then they've had to sell the farm. But most of the time it's just fun to meet the people and help them out.
In the crop protection side of the business, what kind of trends have you seen over your time in agriculture?
That's great. Starting out, I remember we were putting about 8 different things in the tank just for soybeans in particular, and we were going, okay, I hope this stuff kills the weeds, and you'd come back and you may have toasted them, and because you're putting 28% in, you're putting Pinnacle in, you're putting some Basagran in, you're pretty much throwing everything at it. And so then in 1997, we had Roundup Ready soybeans, and it was like we were all scared. We were thinking, we're spraying Roundup, we're gonna have to charge more because this stuff is gonna drip. Well, we've learned a lot, and then of course we wrecked Roundup, and now we're returning to that. And so it's like with my history of coming from pre-Roundup to now all the resistant weeds with multiple different chemistries, we're really going back to those basic spray days, doing it right, making sure we have enough active ingredients in there, spraying the right weed size. So actually my job has become way more exciting with the 5 resistant weeds that are up here on glyphosate and then multiple other actives. So
It seems to me sometimes what is old is new again, particularly when we're dealing with some of these weed resistance issues.
yeah, and in fact, at grower meetings, I do ask that. Okay, who planted non-Roundup Ready beans before Roundup Ready beans or conventional corn? Because we're going back to that. Yeah, it's been pretty fun.
So you talked about being at Wide World of Weeds and seeing so many young women in the business. What career advice would you have for them as they enter the ag field?
That is a good thing because so many women. I was unable to have children, but I did work with a lot. I'm still working with a youth group right now, so it allows me to be diverse like that. But really, with women, this is a great career. And starting out in ag retail, second to none because you learn so much. You learn from A to Z of the business. But really, I think you have to make a choice. The family career. Some people can make that career work with the family, but there's so many other career choices that you can do with a family. Working for a basic manufacturing company, which I've done for 22 years, has makes it a little bit more flexible to have a family. So and you also have like more opportunities as well. But it's a great stepping stone. I would just consider, always thinking about your family first and then your career second, because that's really the most important is your family.
We need that work-life balance kind of thing. It's hard for me sometimes to get that done, I'd have to admit. Um, What do you do for fun? You got to have some of that in your life as well.
Oh yeah, for fun. I actually have too many fun hobbies. I have right now currently I have 5.8 horses. I'm expecting a foal this in the spring. I'm actually going down to Commodity Classic here, Don. I might see you down there.
Yeah.
I'm representing the crop protection side for Bear Crop Science down there, and then I'm taking a couple of days skiing with a girlfriend of mine, a mentor of mine, Marilyn Backman, and usually we go skiing with another mentor of mine, Vicki Deckers, but she'll be busy. So anyhow, for fun, I do that. I horseback ride, I kayak, I like to golf. My husband and I have a huge garden, and we do enjoy our little hobby farm that we have. So there's a lot of fun hobbies that I like. And fishing. I do work with the youth philanthropy group, which is kind of cool because I've had the amount of mentors that I've had over like this. So everybody needs to have mentors, and I've had amazing mentors. So the two women in my life which are my older mentors is Marilyn Backman, and she's not that much older than me, and then Vicki Decker. She was like a pioneer. And then like I have colleagues, and the men colleagues that are mentors, and to somebody to bounce ideas off. I would have to say Brian Wisher would be one of mine. And then colleagues of my same age would be Sherry Cook and Troy Seiler, Jeremy Bittner. And there's those people you always want to keep in. I'm sure I'm missing several others, Mitch Blums. And it's just, you always have to have somebody to have a conversation with, because this is a small agricultural community, and we all can talk to everybody, but you have to have specific mentors. And then over the years, I've had 17 interns and trainees. And that has been fun, but also my biggest fear, because if they all get together and tell stories about me, I'm going to be in trouble.
So have you seen those interns come into the business too?
Oh, absolutely. And watching them get married and have their families, and and the kids are in the 4-H, and it's like, yeah, I'm starting to feel old, but it's so rewarding as well.
Yeah, this is a fun business, an exciting business. Any final thoughts for me here, Ann?
I would just have to say agriculture is such an amazing career. The diversity of it is second to none, and the people that you work with are just amazing people. Again, the greatest thing about this career is the people that you meet.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Ann, I
Yep.
appreciate it. Enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much, Don.
Thank you. Ann
You bet.
Nalewaja with us from Bayer Crop Science. Again, it is our special feature called Agricult-HER.
Thank you, Don.